everybody, I hope you're all well. The vlog I'm about to make is actually technically a couple of months late. The reason I didn't make it at the appropriate time was initially because I thought it would be too heavy on spoilers, and as much as I saw the film the day after it came out, I knew not everyone would have done, and I didn't want the video there and people tempted to watch it and then to have it ruined for them. And if you haven't guessed already what this vlog is going to be, it's going to be my thoughts on the latest Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. I wrote a blog about this the day after the film came out, and I'm going to use my blog as a kind of structure for this, just because obviously these are my thoughts and these are my thoughts, so it makes sense to. I'm going to do it in several sections. The first section is going to be things that they missed out that I don't think should have been missed out. The second section is going to be general annoyances, and the third section is going to be things that I surprisingly did like. So let's begin. First thing they missed out right at the beginning of the film was Harry's goodbyes to the Dursleys. I couldn't believe that this was missed out. Out of everything they missed out, I can't believe it was this. It's so important. I don't know anyone who didn't love this part of the book. It was so significant. I mean, it was the tables kind of turning a bit, and you know, it's the last we see of the Dursleys, and they've been significant all the way through the series. So for them to not even have a proper send-off, I don't think it does them any justice as a family, and I don't think it does the characters any justice either, because the whole point was that we see a different side to Dudley. I don't really know. I feel stupid that I've taken it personally, but I think, you know, especially for someone with such an attachment to the books, missing out something that really does justice to a character, you know, it's not fair. I don't think it's fair, but we all know what I'm like. Second thing, Hedwig's death. So Hedwig dies. And we see Hedwig die. Hedwig's death has one mention, and that's it. That is it. Okay, Hedwig is not just a pet owl. Hedwig is a motif. Hedwig's a motif for trust, for loyalty, for reliability. Did she at least not deserve a couple of mentions? We barely got to see any emotion from any character about Hedwig's death, and that's ridiculous because, I mean, in the real world, if a pet dies, you get upset. And for it to not happen in the Harry Potter film, I think is really, really, really crap, especially from what Hedwig actually represents. Moody's death, similarly. In the book, they drink fire whiskey to his name, and in the film, it basically went unmentioned. I don't understand why they thought it was okay to kill off a major character and then that be it. Grimmauld Place, there's two things that got missed out. Well, there's probably more than that, but these are the two that jumped out to me. First thing was when in the book they enter Grimmauld Place, there's the series of anti-intruder charms and hexes, and it's like really, really super, super scary. And I thought they'd have put more of that in, but all we got was a hologram of Dumbledore. That's not scary, that's just a hologram of Dumbledore. Furthermore, in Grimmauld Place, they were meant to have Hermione, Ron and Harry like rummaging around Sirius's old room and finding like stuff, like the half photo of Harry when he was a baby riding around on the broomstick and the letter from Sirius and stuff. And again, this was probably one of the things that bugged me most, was when they go to Xenophilius Lovegood's house in the book. They got to Luna's room, and this is when they realise that she's not there. And they see her ceiling, and on her ceiling she's painted this massive motif, like mural, of all of Dumbledore's army, and they're all like interwoven with like gold writing that says friends, friends, friends. And in the book, I remember thinking, well, that's them as a unit, and it was kind of, it was foreseeing the fact that they'd all be reunited at some point, and again, they just completely left this out. And I understand why stuff has to be left out, but I don't understand why stuff that wouldn't take up time in the film would have to be left out, especially as it's two films. I mean, Okay, overall, I thought Hermione's torture scene was done very, very well. However, the one thing that annoyed me, and I remember saying this when the book came out, I remember saying, if they don't portray Ron's panic in the film properly, that scene will be ruined. And they didn't portray Ron's panic properly, and in my opinion, the scene was ruined. In the book, they can hear Hermione screaming, and Ron's like locked in the cellar, and he's like banging the wall and screaming her name, he's going all hysterical, and we didn't have any of that. And I really wanted to see that, because as you know, the chemistry between them has built throughout the films and the books and the years and years, and it would have been a little tribute to how much he cares about her to see him let loose like that, and we didn't. Surprise, surprise, Warner Brothers, surprise, surprise. Section 2 is approaching, guys. This is just like little annoyances that kind of bugged me a bit, that I talked to friends about and they agreed with. The first being Jason Isaacs acting at the beginning. Jason Isaacs is a lovely, lovely guy. I've met him. He's really nice. He plays Lucius Malfoy. But I just thought the beginning of Deathly Hallows, his acting was so like, meh. In that scene, he's meant to be like quite scared because obviously he's seeing his family around him. Everyone's in danger. Voldemort's there being all scary, like coming back. And he was just like, nah. Oh, the casting of Xenophilius Lovegood. He's like one of my favourite characters in Deathly Hallows. I love his eccentricity and I love how that turns into desperation. And I love how he's all like portrayed as quite jovial, quite mad. And in this film, he was just like, he was bland. This was just ridiculous. George didn't lose his ear. He's lying there with blood, and they crack the joke about him being holy, but his ear was still attached to his head. The whole point of the holy joke is that he was holy, no ear there. But alas, no, the ear was still there. So Warner Brothers, if you weren't going to remove the ear, why did you still put in the joke? You might as well have saved even more time and just not bothered removing the ear at all. But as you did spend the time, we could have at least had, you know, how much more fake blood would you have actually had to use just to have a hole there? I mean, come on, seriously. That's just ridiculous. Okay, the fandom notices things like that. And everyone I spoke to noticed it. And I don't understand. It just seems so unnecessary to not have that in it. I just don't understand. And the last thing I didn't like that I don't want to dwell on too much because I probably get hate for it, is Emma Watson's acting. To me, she was never Hermione. I think she was kind of Hermione in Half-Blood Prince, but I've got this thing about her eyebrows. She like acts with her eyebrows. She's like, oh my god, like that. And I'm not a fan of Emma Watson's Hermione. I'm a fan of Emma Watson, a very big fan of Emma Watson, but I'm not a fan of her as Hermione, I'm afraid. All that being said, there are a few things about the film that I really liked. And the first thing I really liked was the opening scene, and that was Hermione obliviating her parents. I thought that was done beautifully. I absolutely loved it. I loved how it was really kind of understated and kind of heartbreaking, but in a calm way. I don't know if I'm making sense. And the music in the background, I just thought that scene was perfect. And I wasn't sure if they were actually going to put it in, but I'm really glad they did. Although saying that, I might have preferred that they spent time actually putting in some stuff that they missed out rather than adding extra stuff that didn't technically need to be there. And a ditto to that point is Harry and Hermione dancing in the tent. As a scene, I loved it. I thought it was really nice, bit of comic relief. It kind of showed that even though they were going through so many shit times, they were still there for each other and kind of like unconditional love despite everything. But again, as much as I love the scene, didn't really need it. Could have used that time to put in something that was missed out. In kind of contradiction to what I said earlier, there are bits about the torture scene with Hermione that I loved. I really loved Emma Watson's acting in here. It was the only part when I thought her acting was really outstanding because I felt it was believable, like with the tears and the hysteria and the screaming, and I just found it a really believable scene. And Helena Bonham Carter was amazing. She always is. The last scene that like stood out to me as outstanding was the scene with Nagini at Bathilda Bagshot's house. Honestly, it was exactly how I imagined it in the book. Like, when I've read the book, that's how I saw it happening. And I just thought that that was translated onto film amazingly. Really scary, just the right amount of suspense without it being too terrifying. And I just absolutely loved it. Like, I knew what was going to happen, but I still jumped, which is pretty cool. To summarise, I shall do thoughts gathered. My thoughts gathered on Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1. I didn't really like it. I think it was a classic case of book to film, in that as a film, might be a really good film, but as a film version of the book, don't think it was done well. Don't think it was done with justice. I was so shocked that J.K. Rowling produced it because I mean, I don't want to speak for J.K. Rowling, but if I was J.K. Rowling, there was things in that I would have said, don't miss that out, don't change that, that's very important. For example, with the Dursleys and with Luna's ceiling. To me, they're really crucial, but obviously everyone's got different opinions. So yeah, I didn't love the film. I mean, I haven't seen it a second time. I was going to, and I never got round to it. Maybe I'll like it more when I'm not watching it so critically, but unfortunately, wasn't a fan. I'd be really interested to hear what everyone thought of it, especially the people that love the books as much as I do. Maybe I need a kick in the face and be told to shut up and just appreciate them for what they are. I try to do that. I find it difficult because I do have an emotional attachment, which is ridiculous but true. And yeah, but saying that, I'm kind of excited for the second one. Less excited than I was before I saw the first one, but I think it needs to be rounded up because as it stands, not majorly impressed, unfortunately, which I'm upset about because, you know, we're about to have the end of the end and I'd like to be more excited about it and I'd like to have more faith in it. But yeah, as I said, let me know what you thought, because I'm sure I'm in the minority because I'm a fussy biatch. Bye.